Para partilhar pouco dessa visão da Esri, convidámos o meu colega James Higgins, General Manager da Esri Europa, para estar connosco como keynote speaker. Recebam o meu colega James. Bom dia, James. How are you? I want to thank you, your presence here today, to share a vision from Esri. Please, the floor is yours.
All right, well, welcome everyone, and really thank you so much for giving me some time here to share what we're doing at Esri and talk a bit about sustainability and the geographic approach. Now, these two things really at Esri are connected globally for us, as sustainability has become a very important topic, whether in the US or in Europe. For us, it's all about geography and really this idea that we've been thinking about for many years, connected to the geographic approach. Now, as so you know, the world that we live in is very complex. There's lots of interconnected systems, but unfortunately, many of them we still, at this point, don't understand. And as we're increasingly dominating the planet with human activities, it's challenging for us to continue to manage and move forward. I think there's lots of areas that we've experienced this year. In the US, we've had fires and floods. In Europe, there's been significant fires and flooding. And if you look at all these different pieces and you kind of put them together, things are changing exponentially. My background is in water, so I'm very sensitive to groundwater and water related issues, but this is something that we really have to keep front of mind as we're talking together over the next few days. Now, we truly believe that creating a sustainable future is possible. It requires a change in priorities for all of us. You'll hear talk of that at COP26 coming up in a few weeks, when all the global leaders get together to discuss sustainability. But it's each little piece of the things that you see on this slide, whether it's diversity or pollution or just the thing that matters to you. Again, it's that human footprint and aspect. But for all of us, we're GIS professionals. And at Esri, we believe that geography is really the underpinning to change all of these priorities and really guide us moving forward. Now, sustainability requires that we see this all as one connected ecosystem, and there's different facets to that. There's social aspects, there's economic aspects, there's clearly environmental underpinnings of all of this. And ultimately, the work that we do and the work that you do provides all the inputs and the data to help us to begin to understand how do we actually approach solving some of these big challenges. Now, the geographic approach is something that we at Esri globally have been really thinking about and executing on for many years. Essentially, it's the pure definition of geography and that intersection of human activity with the environment over space. So all those layers of information that you collect and you work on, but it's some very key things though that drive it. It's a science-based approach, integrating all the aspects of whatever science is available. For me as a geographer, it's exciting because you can use economic science, biological science, geological science to start to understand some of these multidisciplinary problems and challenges. Now, the geographic approach integrates a number of methodologies that we're really starting to define in more kind of detail as we move forward. Now, one underpinning this is the idea of analytics or geoanalytics, whether it's a very localized problem looking at the depth of watershed, or it's a macro problem and looking at economic accounting and sustainability across multiple countries. The idea is the software and system that we build allows you to seamlessly integrate and both visualize the problem, execute analytics, and then also come out with a model that can be shareable and used for decision making by others. So defensible and easily distributed. Now, I think as we all know, GIS and ArcGIS, the system that Esri builds, really enables the geographic approach. And you've all been using this for decades. All of your work is an example of the geographic approach, whether it's the collection and measurement and management of authoritative data sets, or looking broadly at systems that are all designed to take action and distribute data and share that for very specific purposes. So again, while we've kind of codified this thinking as the geographic approach, it's all the work that we've been doing together over many years to get to this point. Now, you could find yourself here on this slide. As geographic professionals, as I said, you've been applying the geographic approach, whether it's looking at a shift to renewables, if you're working at a utility, or looking at how to make cities smarter or more resilient, or looking locally or more broadly at a country level at preserving diversity or natural areas. We've all been working on a piece of this, but again, the idea that drives it together is we can integrate it all and collect our efforts as well, which really gets exciting. And this is a combination of even why we're all together virtually. It's community, because even though we work in different disciplines, we can all share our excitement and share our efforts. It's software architecture that is open and allows you to seamlessly share information. And then fundamentally, it's that opening up of data and ingesting of data that's available to all of us as well. Now, technology across everything that we do and also adjacent disciplines is expanding rapidly, whether it's more authoritative and easier ways to manage that data set that you own, or looking at how we interact and integrate with bigger and higher velocity data sets that cover entire organizations, disciplines, countries, the expansion and really bringing our GISs into 3D. But the key here is not picking one innovation and kind of being stuck either in big data or 3D. The system allows you to integrate all of this. And that's quite a bit of the work that we've been doing to solve these larger problems as well, because you really can't sacrifice, one area for another. We need to integrate all of this together. That's pretty exciting. Now, part of that is we have to be connected at all modalities. Many of us have our phones with us at all times, but a smartphone isn't just a smart device for communication. It's for mapping, for sensing where we are in the planet. Essentially, we're all sensors now from out in the field in. So everything that we do also has to follow the same modalities, whether it's openly accessible enterprise data repositories, data all the way out into the field. What's very interesting now is embedding this geographic approach in your enterprise systems. So if we're all going to tackle these big problems of sustainability, well, that gets to our organizations and actually spreading the geographic approach across everything that we do. So taking that little bit of GIS and embedding it in your CRM or embedding it in one of your utility systems in a new way as a service, which is really exciting. Now, underpinning all of this is something that we have been talking about very forward for many years, is this idea of geospatial infrastructure. And you're all part of that infrastructure, essentially based on the web, starting many years ago. The little lights of work around the world that we're all contributing, our data, our model, our apps, are all connected as this essentially global geospatial infrastructure. And this isn't an idea, this is happening now. You can connect from your desktop or your organization to a neighboring organization or a pan-European data set or a global data set on climate modeling and bring that into your desktop or your work to help inform your decisions. And this is another key element that is really moving us forward quicker, allowing us to scale. And that's what this is really about, is really scaling so that we can all collaborate. And you can see this now when we talk about millions of users that are integrating with GIS and geographic technology, that's all of us, shared maps, shared services and models. And this continues to expand if you think about the amount of data that's being created on an annual basis. And as we move into 3 dimensions, that's going to continue to rapidly expand as well, both because of technology and because of practical business use as well. Now, geospatial infrastructure allows us, again, without sacrificing, to integrate all of these different data types. Traditionally, what we work on every day is GIS data, remotely sensed data from Sentinel satellite services, big data repositories that previously weren't available to us because they were either in another organization or our technology wasn't positioned the right way to capture that data and bring it into your work. Now, we continue to advance analytics in a number of different areas here. If you think about vector data sets, raster data sets, moving technology closer to big data repositories, the integration with science-based libraries via machine learning tools. So again, making all of the best available technology and capabilities available to you in the mode that you're operating in, so that, again, you can share your work easily and collaborate with each other. Now, fundamentally, a shift that's going to happen over the next year here is looking at how do you put the technology closer to the data to enable you to scale properly and also not sacrifice from an architecture standpoint. So this is another key point when we think about architecting our systems for solving these bigger challenges. We can't sacrifice one for the other. We're actually going to need both. You're going to need your current technology patterns and the ability to adopt new technology patterns to access these data repositories. What's really exciting is the idea now of integrating imagery and remote sensing. We've all used imagery for many years, whether in an analog hard copy format that we would look at our printed maps together, or bringing in orthophotography and then bringing in streaming data, whether satellite, updated imagery, drone imagery, dynamically processing, all of that when needed, either over time on a yearly basis or immediately after a disaster. This has become a critical input that now is just expected, and another area that allows us to look at everything from forestry health to sprawl around a city. But another key piece it's just super interesting to see how this has evolved over the last 5 years. Now, my kind of final point here is back to where and why we're all here, is this idea of hubs, and really how do we collaborate to look at these key tenets of sustainability and using the geographic approach. It's really through communities of users, communities of organizations, but we also need to, in an authoritative way, make that accessible and connect all of us so that we can share our work, share our initiatives, and actually share our problems and challenges so that others can pick up on them. So if you think about the entire life cycle of identifying a problem all the way to its solution, and again, that power of geography and the geographic approach, again, we've embedded that in the ArcGIS system so that it's all just there for you to use. Now, I know we'd love to be together, and virtually you're going to have a great couple days to discuss your work, your technology, your challenges. We want your feedback here at Esri and locally in Portugal. We improve by understanding your challenges and the input and feedback that you have for us. We know, we see it every day that our world, wherever we are, is challenged, but we're optimistic. We don't talk about these challenges because we actually don't think we can't solve them. we fundamentally know that we can solve them, and geography and the geographic approach and really your work um, is what's going to drive practical solutions that we'll all be able to implement at scale. So I really appreciate you giving me a few minutes to talk about the geographic approach, sustainability, and how we at Esri believe that can power your work and your success. So thanks again. Have a great couple days, and I look forward to in a year seeing you in San Diego in person at our global user conference so that we can all reconnect again and talk about our successes. So thank you very much for your time, and Rui, back to you. Thank you for having me.
Muito obrigado, James. Obrigado por teres partilhado a visão da Esri connosco e sim, espero que a gente se possa ver muito em breve. E mais uma vez, obrigado pela tua excelente apresentação.